What's going on, everybody? Eason, and welcome back to another video. Today we're getting into a dimensional analysis, which is just a form of conversions. In this video, we're just going to focus on measurements. You can do this with time, and matter, and all that fun stuff. We're just going to focus on measurements in this video with dimensional analysis. Start out simple, in case you've just never done it before, you're having trouble with it, and all that fun stuff. Now, before we start, I do want to say you need to know your basic conversions. So, 1,000 milliliters equals a liter, 2.54 centimeters equals an inch, 100 centimeters equals a meter, 1 mile is 5,280 feet. You should be able to know that. You learned it in elementary, middle school, so you should be able to do dimensional analysis. But if you don't know that, go watch a video or learn those basic conversions. So yeah, so our first conversion here is going to be 3.03 liters equals how many milliliters? Now we know we can just move the decimal a few places and we get our answer, or add some zeros and a bunch of other stuff that I never actually learned. So we're going to use dimensional analysis. So what's the equivalent of 3.03 liters as a fraction? Well, that's going to be 3.03 liters. Keep the unit over 1. Very simple. And then we're going to put a multiplication like symbol for a dot. You can put an X if you'd like. That works as well. So yeah, keep the units. I'll show you why in just a second. And that is equivalent. 3.03 liters is the equivalent of 3.03 liters over 1. Now, we got to put another fraction in here. So we're changing this from liters to milliliters. This is a pretty simple process. Now, we got to cancel out the unit liters because our answers can't be in liters. So when we are canceling out numbers in an equation, we have the number in the numerator and the denominator of our multiplied numbers. So we're going to put this in the denominator because when we actually multiply this, these units are going to cancel out. And then the unit that we want to keep or get our answer in for now is going to be milliliters. So that's going to go in our numerator. And here, we're going to say how many milliliters is equal to a liter. All right, we want it to be correct. We want it to be, good. So we could say 1,000 milliliters is the equivalent of 1 liter. This is true. We have to have that as our fraction. If we said 900 milliliters is equivalent of 1 liter, that wouldn't be correct. If we said 500 milliliters is equivalent of 0.5 liters, that is correct, but we're not going to do that. So we're just going to stick with this here. So yeah, and then when you put this into our calculator, what we're going to do is multiply everything in the numerators, then divide it by the numbers in our denominators. So we're going to multiply 3.03 times 1,000 divided by 1, divided by 1, and then we're going to get an answer of 3,030 milliliters. And this is perfect. We have 3 significant figures in our answer here. 3 significant figures in our starting measurement, 3.03 liters. Very, very cool. We can also convert this to scientific notation as well. So we could put this as 3.03. This has to be between 1 and 10 times 10 to the, how many powers? 3 powers. We have 1, 2, and then we have that 0 here, 3. Very, very cool. So that's could be our answer. I'll write that here, 3.03 E3. That's going to be our answer with dimensional analysis. If you don't understand it, there's some more practice that we're going to do. So yeah, pretty cool. So let's do another one. Let's do something a little bit trickier. We're going to do 16.1 microliters. This is not a good drawing, I swear. I'm not an artist. And we're going to put that in liters. So what we're going to do is we could convert this straight to microliters to liters. Now, there's some units in between. Milliliters, for example. So we're going to convert this to microliters to milliliters to liters. So we're going to start out here, put this over 1, keep our units. Remember to do that. That's not a good decimal. There we go. So we're going to multiply this. We're going to try to cancel out our units. So we're going to put microliters in the denominator. And instead of putting liters, which is what we're trying to solve for, we're going to put a unit before that, which is milliliters. So how many milliliters how many microliters are in a milliliter? Because microliters is a smaller unit than milliliters. So 1 milliliter is equivalent of 1,000 microliters. Then we're going to convert this, like in our last one, from liters to milliliters, but milliliters to liters. So we'll put milliliters in the denominator. Why? Because we've got to cancel out the units to liters, which is going to be in our numerator. So we're going to put the smaller number is going to have our big number, so 1,000 milliliters to 1 liter. Very, very cool. So microliter cancels out, milliliter cancels out. We have liters, so our answer we know is going to be in liters. So now we're going to do our math. So we're going to start with the top, 16.1 times 1 times 1. Then we're going to divide it by 1,000, then divide it by 1,000 again. And then we're going to get our number 0.0161. That's a really bad 6, but that is our answer. Our first unit had 3 sig figs. This answer has 3 significant figures in there. We don't have to convert it to scientific notation. This will be our answer. We can just put this as 0.161. This also has 3 significant figures. So there we go. We converted from microliters to liters. Okay, so we have a chart now, and we're going to use this chart to convert. I don't know why I have my marker not selected. So we're going to convert 10 megameters, with the capital M, it's big M, to a certain amount of decimeters, with lowercase d and lowercase m. So let's start out simple. We're going to write 10 megameters over 1. This is how you set up your dimensional analysis, always. And then we're going to cancel megameters out. So where's it going to go? It's going to go in our denominator. And what we're going to do is, and I'll explain in just a second, is we're going to put decimeter in our numerator. Because in our chart, we have the amount that it is compared to just meter. So 0 meters right here. This is meter by itself. Then we have decameter, hectometer, kilometer, megameter, and so on. So what we're going to do is that we're just going to put scientific notation in here. Now, what's the highest unit right here? Megameter or decimeter? Megameter. So we're going to put 1 here. Very, very simple. And how many decimeters is 1 megameter? Well, let's count these exponents in between. So we have 6 megameters, and then we have -1. So that's going to be 7 exponents. We're not adding them. We're just counting them. So we're going to do 10 to the 7th power. So what we could do is that we're just going to multiply that 10 dot times 10 to the 7th power, divided by 1, divided by 1. And then we are going to get 10 dot times 10 to the 7th power. I don't like this because because 10 is a high number for scientific notation. You kind of want to be between 1 and 10. So what we're going to do is we're just going to increase our exponent and move our decimal. So we can rewrite this as 1.0 times 10 to the 8th power. We don't have to put a dot after the O because we already have a decimal here, because that's 2 sig figs. 10 dot is 2 sig figs, just so you know. So our answer is 1.0 E8. Voila. And there's our conversion. All right, one more. So we're going to convert 1.094 yards to, let's do meters. Oh my gosh. Imperial system, metric system. I'm going to die. No, you're not. No, you're not. This is where those conversions that I talked about earlier in the video come into place. So let's write this out like we normally would. 1.094 over what? It's going to be over 1. So keep our units. We got to get yards to cancel out. We don't have a chart, so we're just going to go to all the units in between. So what's a unit smaller than yards? Feet. So we're just going to go to feet. How many feet equal a yard? 3 feet is equivalent of 1 yard. What's lower than feet? Inches. So where's inches going to go? In our numerator or denominator? It's going to go in our numerator. And what's going to go in our denominator? Feet, because that is going to cancel it out. So this is going to cancel out. Yards is going to cancel out. We're going to be with inches. How many inches equal feet? 12 inches equals 1 foot. What's a unit smaller than inches? I'm sure there is. I don't know any. But we can convert inches to centimeters because 1 inch is the equivalent of 2.54 centimeters. So how are we going to set that up in our fraction? What's going to go our denominator? All right, 1 inch is going to go our denominator, and then 2.54 centimeters is going to go in our numerator. And now we have converted to the metric system. Now inches has canceled out, and we're left with centimeters. How many centimeters equals a meter? Well, what's going to go in our denominator? Centimeters. What's going to go in our numerator? Meters. How many centimeters equals a meter? 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. And meter is the unit we want. Centimeters cancels out. We're left with meters. Meters is what our answer should be in. So now we got to do a lot of math. All right, so we have 1.094 times 3 times 12 times 2.54 times 1. Once you get that answer, divide it by 1, divide it by 1, divide it by 1, divide it by 1, divide it by 100, and then you should get an answer that we are going to round to sig figs. So how many sig figs are in 1.094 yards? 4 sig figs. So when we round that, we should get 1.000 meters, and that is going to be our answer. So we're not going to put 1 meters in our answer, 1.000 meters, because we got to use our significant figures. And very, very cool. And that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. This was kind of fun to film. So please subscribe, like the videos for other stuff. This was a really highly requested video. So if you want to request a video, send me a DM on Discord, stuff like that. Please like, subscribe. It's free. Really does help me out. Leave a comment with criticism and your answers and help and all that stuff you need. So yeah, see you in the next video. Adios.